Starfield is a massive game, and you can find yourself wanting to start over if you proverbially shoot yourself in the foot at the start of the game. So to save you some pain, here's 25 plus tips without any spoilers that I wish I knew before starting my first game in Starfield. And of course, if you do find this video helpful, hit the thumbs up, and if you do have any questions, join me in stream after the premiere at twitch.tv/Totalxclipse, where I'll be playing Starfield spoiler free. Firstly, regardless of whether you're interested in doing missions, crafting or outpost building, occasionally you'll be tasked with harvesting minerals. You'll often do this with the cutter, but instead of using your left mouse button to fire, hold down the right mouse button, and once the crosshairs are centered and red, fire. This will be much faster, saving you a lot of time. Also, if you are in your ship, you can also harvest asteroids by firing constantly at them. This can help for certain side quests, such as if a ship is in trouble and asking you for iron ore. If you're in an asteroid field, you'll have it in no time. If there's a particular mineral that you're looking for, such as iron, drop down to a planet that has that mineral and use your scanner. Resource veins will show up on the floor, and if you're standing on an iron vein, most of it, if not all of the resources scattered above that patch, will be of the same resource. Speaking of minerals and materials on planets, when you scan a planet, the resources shown will correspond to your scanning level and the materials available. If a material has a diamond over its periodic table element name, that means it requires levels in the science scanning tree. For example, each diamond you see on that element there is going to correspond with the amount of levels you need in scanning for it to be viewable during the scan. Now, as you level up your scanning, you should go back and rescan old planets for updated mineral layers. Whilst exploring a planet by foot, use the scanner to locate points of interest. These tend to have more resources and some cool features to check out. Once you visit them, you can carry on exploring or fast track back to the ship by going to the surface map and clicking R, or by pulling up your scanner, hovering the crosshairs over an explored area and clicking fast travel using E. When it comes to the galactic map, red dots are galaxies that you haven't visited yet, whereas the white ones are galaxies you have. When traveling, you can't fast travel to galaxies that have a red dot along the journey without visiting the red dot galaxy first. But also with the white dots, you can fast travel to any of these white dots that you've discovered within the jump range capabilities of your ship, without having to make any stops, providing you have sufficient capacity in your ship's fuel tanks. With this being an RPG, skill points allow you to unlock and specialize your character. I highly recommend leveling up as fast as possible, and this is easier said than done. But if you do find a bed, sleep in it, because you will get the well-rested buff, giving you a 10% bonus to experience gain, so sleep often. Speaking of skills, always keep an eye out for skill magazines. You may well find them in some special locations littered about the world, and they can offer you permanent increases to stats. When you choose your character's background, consider your preferred playstyles which corresponds to the given background. If you like flying ships and want to go down the ship building tree, consider the bounty hunter background. Or if you're interested in building outposts, consider the homesteader. You'll be getting 3 free levels which can greatly help you in the early game if they're associated with the skills you want to work on. For example, if you like pickpocketing, you'll need to put a level in pickpocketing before you can even do that in game. So if you want to pickpocket stuff from the get-go, make sure that you take something with a background in theft. Now, if you do go down the thief route, or want to deal in contraband, this one's also for you. The first safe haven for dumping any illegal items and contraband is at the Den in the Wolf system. It's close to Sol and Alpha Centauri, and you can easily fence your illegally found items. Digipicks are what allow you to hack locks and computers. To open a lock, you'll need to match your locks with the open slots. If you make a mistake, you can undo them, but this will cost a digilock. So if you make lots of mistakes, jump out of the lock screen rather than undoing, so that you only lose one lockpick instead of several. Better yet, when you are doing this, line up each of the digipicks prior to attempting the lock. You can then cycle the digipicks by pressing Q and T on PC or clicking the individual picks. Make sure they're lined up and then do them all at once. You can track resources you need in order to easily see them in shops when looting. You can do this in the crafting or research panels by clicking track project or click R when there's a prompt for it. Another great tip is to subscribe to my channel, Totalxclipse, if you want to see more content on Starfield, such as guides. We already have some useful guides on outpost building and how to build a cheap but incredibly brutal ship in Starfield. I'll put a link to them above. Now, statuses can be removed with associated aid items, and you will get them from time to time if you're on extreme planets or take a lot of damage. But you can also get fixed up at a doctor. The same goes for your ship. You can use ship parts to repair 40% of your ship's hull per ship part over 10 seconds. Or you can pay 1,000 credits at a ship technician to fix it at a dock. You can hotkey items and weapons by going to your inventory and favoriting them. You can then use the corresponding number to quick select them when you're in combat, for example. When it comes to ships and weapons, it pays off to specialize. If you love lasers, use lasers and focus on those skills. It'll mean that you deal a lot more damage, but more importantly, this can be applied to your ships as well. Consider getting skills in weapons you want to use rather than use 3 different weapon slots. You can also use just one type of weapon, such as for me, I use particle beams. They do equal damage to hull and shield, and by using just one type of weapon, you can focus all of your reactor energy into that, which greatly increases weapon firing speed, doing a huge amount of damage, as you can see here. This also applies to crew. Assigning them to your ship with specialities that you use can give you extra power in their given slots. Oh, and you'll often find hireable crews in bars. Just make sure they specialize in the traits you need and you have some cash on you. Now, whilst on the topic of weapons, if you do intend to board ships and sell them on, you'll want to use EM weapons. They can be found at the Den. There are some other ship shops as well, but certainly the Den in the Wolf system, which we've talked about prior, has them for all levels. These are going to help disable a ship much quicker, or a ship's systems. Also, putting a few points in commerce, if you have them available, will pay off in dividends. Slight pun there, I guess. Selling captured ships, you can rake about 10% profit in total after you register them. But if you have a single point in commerce, you're going to find that you save 5% on the registering fee, and then you also make 10% more profit on selling. Speaking of selling, you can sell items that are in your ship at any store by pressing Q and going to sell from, followed by the name of your ship. Though I do wish they allowed us to purchase items that went directly to the ship rather than our inventories. If you thought those tips were useful, I'll be working on a shipbuilding tips and tricks video soon, so make sure to subscribe, and why not join me on twitch.tv/Totalxclipse now for some more Starfield gameplay. Special thanks does go to all of our amazing supporters on Patreon, most notably our Solarclipse patrons, James Irwin, Firefless and Treble, as well as our Lunas, the Calamity Ben, Star and That Dude AW, as well as our Blood Moon of the Day, which today is Gaming Slug. Until next time, as always, ciao for now.